Running from God sounds impossible. Where would you even go? Yet one man tried. He heard the voice of the Almighty give him a direct command, and he turned and ran in the opposite direction, as fast as his feet could carry him. This was not a minor disagreement. This was not a simple misunderstanding. This was a prophet who would rather risk death than obey what God had asked him to do. His name was Jonah, son of Amittai, and what happened to him became one of the most astonishing accounts ever recorded. The word of the Lord came to Jonah with crystal clarity. "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and call out against it, for their evil has come up before me." Nineveh, the capital of Assyria, a sprawling city of violence, cruelty, and paganism. The Assyrians were feared throughout the ancient world for their brutality. They tortured captives, skinned prisoners alive, and built monuments from the skulls of their enemies. They were Israel's most terrifying adversary, and God wanted Jonah to preach to them, to warn them, to call them to repentance, to give them a chance to be spared. Jonah's response was immediate. He went down to Joppa, found a ship heading to Tarshish, paid the fare, and went aboard. Tarshish was in the opposite direction. If Nineveh was east, Jonah went west. If God said, "Go," Jonah said, "No." But you cannot outrun the Creator of the sea and sky. Jonah was about to learn that lesson in the most terrifying way imaginable. The Lord hurled a great wind upon the sea. A violent storm rose against the ship. The waves crashed. The timbers groaned. The vessel threatened to break apart. The sailors, hardened men of the sea, were terrified. Each cried out to his own God. They threw cargo overboard, desperate to lighten the ship. And where was Jonah? Down in the inner part of the ship, lying down, fast asleep. The captain found him and shook him awake. "How can you sleep? Get up, call on your God, maybe he will spare us." Then the sailors cast lots to discover who was responsible for the disaster, and the lot fell on Jonah. They demanded answers. "Who are you? Where are you from? What have you done?" Jonah told them the truth. "I am a Hebrew, and I fear the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land." The men became even more afraid. "What have you done?" They knew he was running from his God. The sea grew wilder. The storm grew stronger. Finally they asked him, "What shall we do to you, that the sea may quiet down for us?" Jonah's answer was chilling. "Pick me up and throw me into the sea. Then the sea will become calm for you. For I know it is because of me that this great storm has come upon you." The sailors did not want to do it. They rowed with all their strength, trying to bring the ship back to land. But the sea only raged harder against them. At last they cried out to the Lord, "Please, O Lord, do not let us perish for this man's life. Do not lay innocent blood upon us." Then they picked up Jonah and threw him into the sea. And instantly the sea stopped raging. The wind died. The waves became still. The storm that had nearly destroyed them vanished the moment Jonah hit the water. The sailors were overcome with fear of the Lord. They offered sacrifices. They made vows. But Jonah was sinking into the deep. Then the Lord appointed a great fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. In that darkness, beneath the waters, surrounded by the depths, Jonah prayed. "From the belly of Sheol I cried, and you heard my voice. You cast me into the deep, into the heart of the seas, and the flood surrounded me. The waters closed in over me. Yet you brought my life up from the pit, O Lord my God." When his life was fainting away, Jonah remembered the Lord, and his prayer rose to heaven. Then, on the 3rd day, the Lord spoke to the fish, and the fish vomited Jonah out onto dry land. Then the word of the Lord came to Jonah a 2nd time. "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and call out against it the message that I tell you." This time, Jonah arose and went. He entered the city and cried out, "Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown." And then something remarkable happened. The people of Nineveh believed God. They called for a fast. They put on sackcloth from the greatest to the least. Even the king rose from his throne, covered himself in sackcloth, and sat in ashes. God saw their repentance, and he relented from the disaster he had threatened. But Jonah was angry. He had wanted judgment. God had given mercy. And that is where the story reveals something unsettling about the human heart. We often want mercy for ourselves, but judgment for our enemies. We want grace when we fall, but destruction for those we hate. Yet God's compassion reaches farther than human bitterness. His mercy extends even to people we think deserve destruction. And the Lord asked Jonah one final question. Should I not pity Nineveh, that great city in which there are more than 120,000 persons? The question still hangs in the air. God's mercy is wider than our hatred, deeper than our bitterness, and stronger than our desire for revenge. That is the scandalous grace at the heart of Jonah's story.